In the third world, they said that the form, meaning our bodies, were created, and then our souls would come into the bodies, and when they did, we had all of this knowledge, we had all of this ability to communicate with one another, we had telepathy, we had an understanding far beyond what we currently do right now. But it was like giving children matches to play with, without allowing them to evolve more along the lines of emotionally, and to being able to handle all of this knowledge. So they kind of went crazy. They played around too much. They were becoming destructive. And the things that they did were very dark and evil at that point. So again, the world was sort of cleaned out, cleaned off, and again, these new vessels were created, meaning the vessels that we have now. So there's been a slow evolution of, quote, mankind over time. As this took place, one of the things that happened was, in this third world, I was shown an image of these people, and it was sort of like looking from above. And I looked down into this room, and I saw these people. And these people, I was told, were living the life that was intended, which was the spiritual life. And so, because they had this great knowledge, and because they had a true understanding of why they were here, and the bodies that they had seemed to be doing very well, they were spared and taken from the third world and brought into this, the fourth world. Now, one of the things that happened in this vision is I was told that one day I would find these people and I would know what to do. So when I went into the Four Corners area for the very first time in 2003, I knew I had to go through Hopi, but I really didn't know why. The only thing I knew was that there was a reason for this. And it was a very big reason, and it was very, very important. So when I did go through Hopi, I had what I would call a psychic flash, where I saw some of these Hopi people, and they changed right in front of my eyes. And it was in this flash that I had all of the visions that were given to me on board the craft, as well as what they wanted me to do, as well as what was happening on the earth, where we came from, where we're going. It was just mind-blowing. It was so much. But most important, I realized that these were the people that they wanted me to find. I realized that the Hopi were these individuals that were taken, individuals meaning people, that were taken from the third world into the fourth world, and that they had a great purpose at this time. So it was no surprise to me that I came across them at all. And their role on the planet is very important for the future of everyone. It is my hope, and I hope with my heart, that all of us, meaning the Hopi, the indigenous from all around the world, and everyone else that has an understanding and a caring and a passion and a desire to help this planet, will truly come together and be able to save us from this destructive path that I was shown.
You came to Hopi, though, and it was an interesting sort of series of events that put you there, and then also, and I don't know, this may encompass beyond 2003, but your experience of meeting, and I don't know his name, he's a Hopi elder, I believe, and you ended up staying at his house. Do you want to tell a little of that story? Because it's really compelling in the sense that here you are, a complete stranger, a white woman, walking into this tribal setting, and in some strange way they seem to have accepted you and welcomed you in.
In 2004, I took a trip again by myself. And during this particular journey, I knew before I even went there what was going to happen. And I was very nervous. on the first trip, I bought a ring at a little store and in Hopi. And I went back there in 2004 and talked to the woman that sold me the ring. And I was trying to tell her some of these things that had happened to me. And the way that I talked about it was, I kept telling her I had these visions or I had these dreams, and this is how I came to all this information. And she was really taken aback by the things that I was saying. And she said to me, I think you should speak to one of our elders. So she hummed and hawed about who she should send me to. And then she told me, go to this mesa, this is where this person is, this is their name. And I was thinking, oh wow, you know, this is it. I knew this was going to happen. So I go up onto the mesa and I find this man. And he was not very impressed that I was at his door initially. And he was kind of humming and hawing, like, what are you doing here? You know, I can't help you. And I said, no, I'm only here to share this with you. That's it. So I, again, started this amazing story about how I had these visions and dreams about certain things and how I found them to be completely related to Hopi prophecies, and that they weren't just related, they were almost identical in their nature. And the story of their creation story, again, exactly the same as what these tall blonde entities and beings had told me. So I was telling him all of this, and then finally he looked at me and he said, wait a minute, are you talking about, kind of leaned across the table and he said, are you talking about aliens? And I thought, oh, it was such a relief. It was such a relief in that moment, because I had to wait for him to bring it up. And I said, yes. And he said, okay, now talk to me. Now tell me the story. So I continued talking to him, and he appeared to understand and know what it was that I was talking to him about. And at that point, you know, after I'd been speaking to him for hours, he looked at me and he said, why are you here? And I said, I'm here to share with you. And he said, no, why are you here? I don't understand. And he was just kind of shaky about it. And I said, well, I'm only here to share this story with you. And he said, you know, I have had people come from all over the world. He has himself as well as Hopis. They have people come from all over the world. And he said they come with similar stories, but not like this. He said, all of them come here and they ask me questions, and you haven't asked me a single question. Why? And I said, what could I possibly ask you that I don't already have the answer to? So that made him even more nervous. And it's not because I believe that I have all of the answers. It is because I know that for myself, I don't need a Hopi to tell me something. I know what I need to know, and I'm content with that. Now, what happened after being with him for some time is even more fascinating. Because I left at one point. He asked me to leave because someone came to his home. And I walked out of his house and I walked along the mesa, at which time I started walking towards the Hopi woman's home who sold me the ring. She'd told me where she lived. Her daughter was outside. So I started talking and sitting with her daughter. And very quickly after that, she started speaking Hopi to one of her friends. And I think it was that moment that I said to myself, that's it. There is absolutely not an ounce of questioning left anymore. Because in that moment, she said a word in Hopi that I recognized as being one of the words that these tall blonde aliens spoke to me in. And I asked the little girl, I said, what does that mean?